2021. Our 10 students are already seated. They've already been through the reading materials as they'll take part in 3 rounds. But before we begin our proceedings here this afternoon, we'll begin, of course, with the national anthem of the Commonwealth of Dominica. So I will ask everyone to stand and ask Miss Jemima Roll to do the first stanza of the national anthem.
Isle of beauty, Isle of splendor, Isle too also sweet and fair, all must surely gaze in wonder at thy gifts so rich and rare. Rivers, valleys, hills and mountains, all these gifts we do extol. Healthy land so like all fountain, giving share that warms the soul.
Thank you so much, Miss Roll. And now we'll ask on Mrs. Yvonette Anatole Cabon to lead us in prayer.
Most gracious and eternal Father, we thank you this afternoon. We thank you for the gift of life. We thank you for traveling mercies as we got here. As we are about to embark on this reading competition this afternoon, we know that your presence is already here, and we say, welcome, Holy Spirit. Father, we pray, God, that we'll have a fair competition. I pray against the spirit of fear and nervousness. Let the children be calm. Let them be able to read with clarity. And I just pray everything that will be said and done here will bring honor and glory unto your name. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you so much, Mrs. Cabon. I will ask you to remain standing as we observe a quick moment of silence in honor of the late Felix Henderson. Thank you so much. Please be seated. And yes, as the nation station, the DBS Radio celebrates its 50th anniversary, this year we are reading for Felix. I want to stress on Felix because we need to know it was, the reading competition was his brainchild. And if he was here today, some of you would have been used to him, would know what Felix would be doing today. But we get a little bit of that a little later on. But before we move on, we'll have to, of course, ask our coordinator to welcome us, for those of you, especially if it's your first time viewing or first time being in the audience and not aware or not familiar with some of the rules, our coordinator will instruct us.
Thank you so much, Amelia Joseph Dennis, and good afternoon to those of you gathered here at the Alliance Forces, to our viewers on our Facebook and YouTube channels, as well as our listeners on our FM frequencies. Welcome to what is the final competition in the second round of the headline-sponsored Office of the Prime Minister, DBS Radio, Ministry of Education National Reading Competition for the year 2021. It is an honor to be part of this, and of course, like other competitions, we have stressed on the importance of reading, and we just want to say to the 10 who are here today to continue, in spite of the results, to continue the journey in reading. And I've always stressed on the fact that these children, especially the pupils who have gone through the national reading competition, for some reason, have always excelled at the national assessment examinations. So we want to encourage you, the 10 who are here today, and of course, you have done your best, you are the best, because you are representing your school. So I just want everyone here to put your hands together for the 10 pupils who are here today. It is also part of DBS's 50th anniversary. We stand tall in not just entertaining, but informing and educating Dominican populace. So we are here today as part of our 50th anniversary celebration, the reading competition. But today is so extra special, and Amelia, I don't want to be the one to break the news. I'll make Amelia break the news that we have a special judge today, and Amelia will highlight one of the judges, and you'll understand why, that it is a kind of an excitement. And if Felix was alive today, he would be very happy. He will be ear to ear smiling.
Yes.
Why, this today is particularly, and this particular judge, is, brings some form of excitement. But for the students here, I want you to make it, like I've told the other two competitions, make it extremely hard for the judges this afternoon. Only 18 from the 30 will move on. And I want to wish you all the best. It's 3 rounds of competition: the narrative, the news item, and sports. Do your best, read your best, and forget about everybody, forget about who's in the crowd, forget who's listening, forget about everything else, and just read. How important reading it is, and I wish you all the best. Parents, teachers, principals, schools, thanks for the support. Thank you for having your children be part of this initiative, this reading competition. We say thank you to all of our sponsors. We say thank you particularly to the Office of the Prime Minister for seeing, how important it is to be part of this initiative, the reading competition, as well as the Ministry of Education, Mr. Robert Geese, and all the people who have been part of this, Ms. Badwill and all the rest, who have been part of this reading competition. So happy listening to our students here. I wish you all the best. I wish it didn't have to be just 18, because all of you are doing your best, but only the next 18 will go through, and I wish you all the best today. And congratulations for being part in the top 30. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Ms. Ito. All right, and now we will present to you the judges that are tasked here this afternoon with this afternoon's competition. So from those of you in the audience and those of you viewing, depending on your angle, from the extreme right, so that's our first judge here this afternoon, who goes by the name of Rilla Benjamin. Rilla Benjamin was the first winner of the DBS Radio Ministry of Education National Reading Competition. She won in 2008 for the Berean Christian Academy. Ms. Benjamin is currently a full-time student at the University of the West Indies. She's also a private tutor and a past teacher. Give it up for Ms. Rilla Benjamin. This is what Kimara was alluding to when she said, we have someone special here with us this afternoon. It just shows how far reading can take you. Our first winner can sit and judge this very competition that she took part in. Center stage, our next judge is Miss Natasha Nation. Give it up for Miss Nation. And the representative for the Ministry of Education, and our head judge this afternoon, Mrs. Shinda Francis, who is an English teacher, a past teacher as well at the P.S. Charles Secondary School. She's also part of the Reading Association, the Dominican Reading Association. Give it up for Mrs. Shinda Francis. All right, our last group of 10 in this second round. We're about to present to you who our readers will be this afternoon. From the Castlebruce Primary School, Jonella Carbon. Thank you, Ms. Carbon. From the Convent Preparatory School, Brittany Lewis. Thank you, Ms. Lewis. From the Grand Bay Primary School, Kadisha Litham. From the Sufria Primary School, Sajani Alexander. From the Mon Prosper Primary School, Kristen Simon. From the Sinaku Primary School, Bevinia Linton. From the St. Martin Primary School, Cesare Joseph. From the St. Mary's Primary School, Kalen Matthew. From the St. Luke's Primary School, Naimanael Azard. And from the Temple SDA Primary School, Shamina Lee. So our students have been through the reading material. As I said, or you would have heard mentioned previously, this year we are reading for Felix. So at this time, we will take the opportunity maybe to bring the spirit of Felix in our midst, as if he were here with us this afternoon hosting this very reading competition.
We will not accept mediocrity. We will not accept mediocrity. Nobody listening to me. I'll say it until you agree with me. We will not accept mediocrity. I'm still not hearing you properly. We will not accept mediocrity. Right. You know, you go to competitions and children read badly sometimes, you know, not prepared, and then you ask, how was it? Great! Excellent! Say, you know. Excellence, that's what we're looking for. That's like the Queen competition, you know. When they go and represent, you know, they come with their posse, and you ask them about, what is the chief export of Dominica? And bananas, whatever. Would you please repeat the question? And Paul Raymond have to repeat again. And they'll tell you all kinds of things about ripe fig, and soft ripe fig, and black ripe fig. And when they finish now, everybody like, yay! And then afterwards they're making noise. Oh, why come she didn't win? It is volley de volley. It is the same thing in reading competition. Let the judges judge. Okay?
All right. And we will continue with a little Felix a little later on, but we are ready to present to you this final group of 10 in the second round of competition. Are you ready? Okay, Felix, I want to feel your energy. Are you ready? That's better. All right. So we are now calling on our first reader for this afternoon from the Castle Bruce Primary School, Jonella Carbon.
Aunt Tabitha was rather a strict old lady. When her nieces went to stay with her, they were very careful how they behaved. They said please and thank you when they should, and they always opened the front door for Aunt Tabitha and fetched her footstool as soon as she sat in her chair. When Phyllis and Jane went to stay with her, they felt rather frightened. They did hope they would do everything they should. But Phyllis was rather a noisy child and banged doors behind her. So Aunt Biffa was cross and spoke sharply. And then Jane upset her tea all over the clean tablecloth, and that made Aunt Tabitha cross too. They went to bed the first night feeling rather upset. I hope Aunt Tabitha isn't going to be cross all the time, said Phyllis. I shall go home if she is, said Jane. "I don't like her." We'll see what happens tomorrow," said Phyllis. "I'll try my hardest not to bang doors." She didn't bang a door, but she forgot to wipe her feet on the mat and brought mud in all over the blue hall carpet. Aunt Tabitha frowned when she saw it. "Get the dustpan and brush and sweep up the mud as soon as it is dry," she said. And then Jane knocked against a little table, upset a glass vase, and down it went with a crash. It broke into about 100 pieces. Aunt Tabitha was very angry. "If you are clumsy again, I shall send you up to bed," she said. Poor Phyllis and Jane. It was really very difficult for them to be sweet and smiling to someone who scolded them so hard. But they knew that Aunt Tabitha was old, and Mother had said that old people were not so patient as younger ones. She's nice when she smiles," said Phyllis. "But I wish she'd smile oftener." "I think we'll go home," said Jane, who was rather afraid of being sent to bed if she did anything else to displease her aunt. "I'll pack your bag. We can slip out of the house and go home without anyone knowing." Just then, the maid came in, looking very pale. "Please, Miss Phyllis and Miss Jane," she said, "I feel ill. Do you think you could manage to get your aunt's tea if I leave it ready?"
All right, and that was Jonella Carbon from the Castlebruce Primary School. I'm loving the spirit already. Let's pray that it remains that way. And we would love, of course, that support for each and every one of the readers. His voice permeated the airwaves for 43 years. A voice that could bring forth tears and tons of laughter. A voice that was and is still a source of comfort and comedic relief. He has been a voice for the voiceless, giving others strength and even food in their time of need. He was a household name, and that name was Felix Henderson. Felix Henderson was born on May 26, 1956, from the vibrant village of Grand Bay. And I don't have to tell you what Grand Bay is. His life was not an easy one. However, he struggled and endured. He shaped himself into the icon that he was before he fell. We will give you a little more on Felix as we move throughout this competition. But now we will have to call on our second reader for this afternoon from the Convent Preparatory School, Miss Brittany Lewis.
Go and lie down, Mary. You do look ill. We can manage. I meant to finish turning out your aunt's little sewing room, said Mary. I'm in the middle of it now. But I feel so queer. I really think I'd better leave it till tomorrow. The maid went to her room. The two girls looked at one another. We can't slip home now, said Jane. It would be mean. We must stay and help. Do you think we'd better try and finish turning out Aunt Tabitha's sewing room? Said Phyllis. It would be kind to Mary to do it. And Aunt Tabitha does hate to see a room upside down. Let's do it. So the two girls got dusters, brooms and mops, and went to finish turning out the sewing room. Aunt Tabitha was having a nap in the drawing room and didn't know what they were doing at all. The room was upside down, for Mary had been in the middle of turning it out. The girls swept the ceiling free of cobwebs. They swept the carpets. They polished the boards. Then they wondered if they ought to take the chair cushions into the garden and bang them to get rid of the dust. Well, we might as well be thorough, said Jane. Look, the seat of this chair comes out. Shall we take it right out and dust underneath properly? Yes, said Phyllis. Come on, tug. The seat of the chair, which was an enormous velvet cushion, came out with a jerk. The girls were just going to take it downstairs to beat when Jane caught sight of something deep down in the underseat of the chair. She put her hand down and pulled it out. It was a leather case. She opened it and gave a loud cry. Phyllis, this case is full of paper money. Look, pound notes and 10-shilling notes. Good gracious! Who do you suppose it belongs to? I can't imagine. We'll tell Aunt Tabitha at tea time and see what she says, said Phyllis, excited. I dare not wake her now. Come on, let's finish our job. Put the case somewhere safe till tea time. At tea time, the two girls took in the tea tray most carefully. Phyllis had made the tea and had filled the hot water jug. The bread and butter was already cut. The cake Jane had taken out of the tin and put on a plate.
All right, and that was Brittany Lewis from the Convent Preparatory School. Felix walked into the Dominica Broadcasting Corporation just about 1 week shy of his 21st birthday on May 12, 1977. And of course, we would all know what happened since then. Known for his involvement and drive to see the Creole language accepted in Dominica, I'm sure most of you would not have believed that Felix could even speak Creole at the age of 17. But I'm sure Felix would be happy today to see that the Ministry of Education has taken the initiative to put Creole into our primary school, especially at primary school level. The new initiative, we would have heard the Minister of Education, the Honorable Octavia Alfred, would have mentioned recently at a Creole symposium that the primary schools will have to take a pause, a 5-minute pause for a Creole cause. This is something that the late Felix Henderson fought for. This is something that he would have loved to see take effect himself, but unfortunately, he passed before that could have taken place. All right, so we're moving to the South, Grand Bay. The next reader, Kadisha Litham.
Dear me, where is Mary? Asked Aunt Tabitha in surprise when the girls came with the tea things. She's not feeling well, said Jane. So she is lying down for a little while. She was in the middle of turning out your little sewing room, Aunt Tabitha, and we thought we would finish it for her. We took the big seat out of the old armchair there. To beat the dust from it and right down under the seat, we found this. Jane gave her aunt the letter case. Aunt Tabitha stared at it in the greatest amazement and delight. "My lost note case!" she cried. "Oh, to think it's found again. There are 20 pounds in it. I lost it nearly 2 years ago and hunted for it everywhere. Well, well, well." "Oh, Aunt Tabitha, I am pleased for you," cried Phyllis. "I know how horrid it is to lose some things and how lovely to find them again." "I do think you are good children to finish turning out the sewing room," said Aunt Tabitha, "and to think you were through enough to take the cushion seat out of the chair to beat. Well, well, I thought you were rather careless children, but I'm sorry I thought that. No, I think you were good and helpful children, and I am pleased with you." Phyllis and Jane went red with pleasure. They each thought how nearly they had slipped away and gone home, but they did not want to tell Aunt Tabitha that. Instead, they sat and ate a good tea and had 2 slices of cake each because Aunt Tabitha was so pleased with them. And the next day, their aunt took them shopping. She bought a big baby doll for Jane with eyes that opened and shut, and a dollhouse for Phyllis with real electric lights in the rooms. It was marvelous. "That's your share of the 20 pounds you found," said Aunt Tabitha. "Nice children, good children. I am glad you are staying with me." "We're glad too," said Jane, and she hugged her aunt hard. "And dear me, wasn't it a good idea that didn't run away the day before? You never know how things are going to turn out, do you? It's always best to go on trying, no matter what happens."
All right. Kadisha Latham from the Grand Bay Primary School. It's always best, as a matter of fact, you never know how things are going to turn out, do you? It's always best to go on trying, don't matter what happened. And this, of course, was the case of the late Sir Felix Henderson. Felix got a volley for not being able to speak Creole. However, his decision to learn the language was what changed his life forever till the day he died. As a matter of fact, it was in the Creole department at DBS Radio that he found his place. His passion grew from there, and it became his duty to see that Creole became something that all Dominicans could be proud of. I too am proud to have fallen, if you want to say that, to have stepped into the footsteps or followed the footsteps of the late Felix Henderson. I'm not sure if many people would have the opportunity in a lifetime to, emulate an icon. And I can tell you, I am happy and I'm proud to be in that position, especially, in the fight to keep our culture, the Creole language, alive. So we are moving on. Remember, we are reading for Felix. We are heading now to the Soufriere Primary School. We welcome Sajani Alexander.
Benny and Molly had both been naughty. They had been rude and disobedient, and their mother was very cross with them. "You are not at all nice children lately," she said.
You don't try to help me in any way. I am very angry with you. You want a good punishment? No, their mother hardly ever punished them, so Benny and Molly didn't feel at all upset. They didn't even say they were sorry. I've got to go out and do some shopping, said Mother. You two can really do some hard work for me for a change. You can take the big broom and sweep out the yard. It is full of bits and pieces, and I haven't time to do it today. Oh, Mother, we do hate sweeping, said Benny sulkily. But Mother for once took no notice. She picked up her basket and went out to do her shopping. The two children looked at one another sulkily. You have first sweep, said Molly. That's just like a girl, said Benny. No, you're the bigger of us two. You begin first. Benny, don't be mean, cried Molly, and she smacked her brother hard. Then, of course, there was a fine quarrel, and in the middle of it, a queer old lady came by and watched from over the yard fence. What's the matter? She called. The children stopped fighting for a moment and looked at the old woman. Our mother says we are to sweep the yard and we don't want to, said Benny. It's hard work. I think Molly ought to begin as she's the bigger one, and she says I ought to because I am a boy. Dear, dear, said the old lady. It is such hard work to sweep a little yard like this. Well, if you like to give me some pennies out of your money box, I will sell you a spell that will make the broom sweep the whole yard by itself. Well, you can guess that Benny and Molly were surprised to hear that. A spell? What fun! They ran to get their money boxes at once. Benny had 4 pence in his, and Molly had 5 pence in hers. 9 pence altogether. They gave the pennies to the old woman.
Sajani Alexander from the Soufriere Primary School. Everybody now and then gets a nickname from somebody. And for some reason, Felix chose that mine would be Molly. Yes. One day he just called me up, and when I answered the phone, he said, Molly. And it just stuck with him, with us. Whenever he said Molly, I just accepted it's me he's addressing. The Creole man Felix was, and a man who makes the best ads in Dominica. Felix had the opportunity to write a book of ads, if you want to call it that, from a booklet called Basil. I will take this opportunity to read a few for you as time goes by. I will allow our judges to tabulate. One called Basil. Talk, talk, talk. Who is there? Basil. Basil what? Basil Timato. Basil Timato. Basil qui ça moi ni pour faire véo. Ou pas ni pour faire rien encore. Tout ça ou t'es pour faire ou j'ai fait déjà. Et Basil ou maudit. It's my duty. Basil pour chi ou vle pour un jeune homme comme moi. I am no respecter of persons. Mais Basil, pour chi c'est moi? Eh ben, pisouni AIDS. À sous les 14 mois juin 1983 à 10 minutes après 8 heures ou aller et puis une femme ou pas te même connaître. À moi à ou nan ça là ou tenez affaire et puis 14 différents moun et à sous vendredi le 13 mois février 1984 ou fait et puis on nomme ça moun qu'a fait et puis femme qui nomme pas supposé faire et puis les autres nomment. We will take it from there in a little while. Let's allow our next reader to take her place at the microphone from, or his place, from the Mon Prosper Primary School. Let's welcome Kristen Simon.
She picked up the broom and rubbed some yellow stuff on it, muttering some queer-sounding words as she did so. Then she smiled a funny smile, nodded her head, and went off down the road, her green eyes twinkling brightly. The broom leaned against the fence. It grew a little head at the top and winked at Benny. "Look at that, Molly," said Benny excitedly. "Hi, broom. Do you work? Sweep, sweep, sweep." The broom stood itself up. The little head nodded and grinned. It really was a very wicked-looking head. And then the broom began to sweep. My word, how it swept that yard! It was marvelous. It swept it far, far better than the children would have done. Molly and Benny were delighted. "That's right. Sweep up all the rubbish," shouted Benny, dancing about for joy. It was such fun to see a broom sweeping all by itself with nobody holding it at all. The broom began to whistle as it swept. The little head pursed up its funny lips and a queer little magic-sounding tune came from them in a whistle as clear as a blackbird's. Sweep, 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 went the broom all over the yard. Dust was swept up. Paper was cleared into a heap. Bits and pieces went into a neat pile. The job was soon done, I can tell you. "Thank you so much, broom," said Molly, pleased. "Now you can have a rest. You've done well." The broom looked at Molly and then at Benny, and went on whistling its queer little tune. It didn't seem to want a rest. It swished itself over towards Molly's doll's pram and swept it right over onto its side. The dolls fell out, and all the blankets and rugs fell out too. The broom swept the whole lot over to the pile of dust. Molly gave a fell out too. Molly gave a scream. "Oh, you wicked broom! You've knocked my pram over. Stop sweeping away my poor dolls." But the dolls were now on the top of the dust pile. Then the broom scurried over to where Benny had put his toy forts and soldiers. Crash! Over went the forts, and down went all the soldiers, and off they were swept to the dust heap. It was Benny's turn to be angry then, but the broom didn't seem to care at all.
All right, so Kristen Simon from the Mon Prosper Primary School. So we'll take it back to Basil. Moi a ou nan sala ou teni zafe epi 14 différents moun eve a sou vendredi li 13 a mois février 1984 ou fait epi yon nom sa nom ka fait epi femme qui nom eve nom pas supposé fait. Basil, a qui dit ou ça? Moi Basil ka wè tout bitin. Moi ni ka espérer pour les arriver pour mon vini epi ti mato moi. Qui tene bagay ou ni pour di vite. Eh Basil, moi te leve dit, tout le monde behave themselves. Peace is dangerous. Anou ale, Basil, pas moi ti break no. You get no break with AIDS. So this was a piece done by the late Felix Henderson in his book of arts, this booklet called Basil. Of course, in this booklet we had the one I just read, Tell Me When, by Divos, Mawson, Dominique Queveyo, Carnation, Jollies, and Anta, Juicy, Vidit, and many, many more. Once I get the opportunity, we'll go through a few of those. However, our competition here this afternoon is rolling up nicely. This is the first round, the narrative round. The students will be reading 3 different items. Of course, the narrative, the news piece, and the sports news. We have 5 down, 5 more to go in this first round. So we'll take this opportunity to now call from the Seneca Primary School, Bevinia Linton.
It just went on whistling and sweeping, its square little head nodding and smiling all the time. It went to the dustbin. It swept hard against it, and over it went. The lid went rolling across the yard with a clatter. Everything fell out of the dustbin at once. Then the broom was a wonderful time. It swept everything up, ashes, tins, broken bottles, bits of garbage, old tea leaves, and what a fine pile it made. Then it swept on the dustbin too, rushed across to the lid and swept that up as well. After that, the broom went quite mad. It hopped to the kitchen door and swept up the mat there. It went inside the kitchen and swept all the saucepans and kettles off the stove. They made a tremendous clatter as they rolled across the yard to the dust heap, with the broom sweeping madly behind them, whistling its silly little song all the time. Then it swept the chairs out of the kitchen too, and the cat's basket as well, with the cat inside. Puss was so thrift that she didn't jump out till the basket was falling down the step. The broom tried its best to sweep her up, but the cat fled away over the fence. "Oh, stop, stop, you wicked broom!" yelled Benny. But it was no good. The broom didn't stop. It just went on and on sweeping things out of the kitchen. When it tried to sweep all the things of the dresser, Molly was frightened. Whatever would Mother say if she came home to find half her cups and saucers and plates broken? "Benny, you must stop the broom!" cried the little girl in dismay. Benny rushed over the broom. Molly followed. Benny tried to catch hold of the handle, but the broom dodged cleverly.
Benny tried again. The broom swung itself round and rapped Benny hard on the chocolates. "Ow!" yelled Benny. "You horrid thing! Wait till I catch you." But that's just what Benny couldn't do. The broom wasn't going to cut just as it was having such a marvelous time. No, no, it was too much to ask. So it dug and twisted and got in some more little wraps on Benny's hands and legs.
All right, and that was Bevinia Linton from the Sineco Primary School. As we examine some of the ads, if you want to call them that aspect that Felix would have created. I feel how, long ago people say that. I remember when I was going to school, I used to say, boy, I feel a how. Well, I feel a how this afternoon when I have to go through these ads or these pieces of writing from Felix Henderson, and so much of it is in Creole. And we have young folks here who may not be able to understand, yet even get the sense of what I'm reading. But let's hope as time passes, that will be a thing of the past. There is one called Ella. Ella dit moi, si yon moun akay li tape AIDS, I pa même le had moun la touche. I pa ave acide la moun la acide. Ay pa ke pale bay. Eve pali ki ke gade kont li. Jije we pou dormi en même chan la epi moun sa la. Pis Bibla di, touch not the unclean things. Mwen di, but Ella, yon moun ki ni AIDS se pa young things. Se vwe moun la kay mo. Mais ou sa fay content aussi. Eve bay ti bwen wespe. I di wespe, sel wespe I ke bay, se apwe I mo. I dwetet ke ale letterman to pay my last respect. We'll get back to Ella in a little while. As we come back to the capital city of Roseau, to the St. Martin's Primary School, let's welcome Cesare Joseph.
Benny was so angry that he rushed round and round and round after the broom and got so giddy that he could not see where he was going. He bumped right into Molly and they both fell over. Bump! The broom gave them each a good whack, and then, my goodness me, it began to sweep them over. Over and over went the two children, rolling towards the dust heap. The broom was so strong that they could not even get up. They yelled and hauled, but the broom took no notice. It wanted to sweep, and sweep it did. Just as Benny and Molly rolled to the dust heap, their mother came in at the gate. At once, the broom became still and quiet and leaned itself against the fence. "Benny, Molly, what in the world do you think you are doing?" cried their mother. "Get up at once. And goodness me, why have you taken all the mats and chairs and saucepans out here? Did you mean to throw them away? You bad, naughty children. What a mess the yard is in." Benny and Molly picked themselves up, dusty and dirty, their faces tear-stained and their hair untidy. They were both crying. "Mother,
It wasn't our fault. It was that horrid broom, wept Molly. It's grown a little head, and it's begun to sweep everything up, even us. We could not stop it. Mother looked round at the broom. It had no head now. It was a good, quiet, well-behaved broom leaning against the fence. Mother was very angry. I don't know how you expect me to believe fairy tales about my broom growing ahead and sweeping things out of my kitchen. It's never behaved like that with me. You are disgraceful children. Go straight indoors and up to bed. Just as they were going into the kitchen, a voice called them. They turned and saw the old woman who had rubbed the spell on the broom. That broom will always be ready to sweep you up if you don't behave yourselves. She called, just you be careful now. So they are being very careful. And all I hope is that I'm there if they begin to be bad again, because I would love to see that broom going mad and sweeping up Molly and Benny. Wouldn't you?
All right, and that was Cesare Joseph from the St. Martin Primary School. We'll continue with Ella. Mwedi, Ella no. Ou pa ne pou pe moun ki ni AIDS, ou sa touche moun la, gade kont li, an boase. Ella di mwen, an boase, pou AIDS la, pou ya sou had li. Mwen di, oh Ella, ou pa sa tape AIDS kon sa? Sel manye ou sa tape AIDS, c'est si ou ka kouri tout partout, et puis différents moun. Eh ben, si ou ni, what is the word again? Si ou ni long division, et puis yon moun ki ni AIDS. 2 into 3 goes once and 1 over. Ou ke toujou tape ke choy over, si ou ni kalite long division sa la. And this was a piece from Felix Henderson. I'm happy some of you getting it, you know. Yes. Felix Henderson, one called Ella. Just to remind you that I will be passing around with a little basket in order to collect funds on behalf of the Education Trust Fund. So I'm asking of you to dig into your pockets, your bags, your, how Felix would say it. You know how they used to do it before, right? Some women would not carry purses, they would carry things in their brides, yeah? So if you have it there, let's go into that. Let's tap into that this afternoon. And I'll be passing around to collect something from you. Anything is something. Of course, the more, the merrier. And I'll be passing around the little ones. So if you have little ones in the audience, give them at least $1 so they can. And I'm not missing anybody, when I pass it? No. All right, so we are moving to our next reader from the St. Mary's Primary School, Kellen Matthew.
Matilda had a dreadful temper. When she was in a rage, she went red in the face, shouted, and then stamped her foot. Matilda, please don't stamp your foot at me, said her mother crossly. No matter what you want, I shan't give it to you if you stamp like that. It's rude. Matilda stamped her foot again. It wasn't a bit of good. She was just sent up to bed. So after that, she didn't stamp her foot at her mother anymore. Only at Jane the maid, George the gardener, and the little friends. They couldn't send her to bed, but they didn't like her at all when she stamped her foot at them. One afternoon, Matilda went to pick blackberries in Farmer Gill's field. She knew where there was a fine hedge of them. And as they were the last of the autumn's feast of blackberries. She meant to have a very nice time, but she found a little old lady picking away fast and putting the big juicy blackberries into her basket. Matilda stared in rage. "I came to pick these blackberries," she said. "So did I," said the old lady, still picking. "I saw them the other day, and I said to myself that they should be mine and no one else's," said Matilda, going red in the face. "How funny! That's just what I said to myself," said the old dame, still picking fast. Matilda stared crossly. "I want those blackberries," she said. "So do I," said the old lady. "You can share them, can't you?" "You've picked all the big ones. You're greedy," said rude Matilda. "What an unpleasant child you are," said the old dame, staring at Matilda out of curious green eyes. Those eyes should have warned Matilda that the old lady was magic, for people with green eyes are not the same as ordinary folk. "You're not to talk to me like that," said Matilda, and she stamped her foot. You're not to. "Don't stamp your foot at me, or you'll be sorry," said the old lady, and her eyes looked rather fierce. But did Matilda care? Not she. She lost her temper all in a hurry and began to shout and stamp. "I want those blackberries! I want those blackberries!"
All right, and that was Kaylin Matthew from the St. Mary's Primary School. Remember those days of the blackberries? Yes. So we will be taking one more from the booklet Basil, one called Juicy and 7-Up. Remember Juicy and 7-Up? Yes. Who stole the Juicy from the Juicy crate? Remy ki point. Remy last di ou pou pa pon Juicy sans ou mande mwen. Pa, yon 7-Up mon pon we. Ou connaît bien Samuel a dit. Juicy et ben 7-Up c'est même bite. Okay pa, sorry. But you say to ask. So anta Juicy after anta 7-Up. Remy, ou ke pou tout petit profit mon café, oui, et puis Juicy a. Et ben 7-Up la mon kavan. Ay gen okre Juicy et ben 7-Up ba mwen outan. Yo kati we $1 sou chaque crate ou sav, la ou gen. Outan sa, yo kati we $1 sou chaque crate Juicy et ben 7-Up. In fact, ale gen 10 crate ba mwen. Mwen sav si ani 10 jou ke di we. Puis après samedi is back to regular price. Le outan bouki eme 7-Up avec Juicy, eme fouet, eme chaud, quantité fin, eme all whole. All right, and that was a piece called Juicy and 7-Up from the late Felix Henderson. So moving on to our next reader from the St. Luke's Primary School, Naimanael Azard.
The old lady looked at Matilda in the greatest surprise. "My dear little girl," she said, "you shouldn't have been a child at all. You should have been a pony. Then you could do all the stamping you please." "Give me those blackberries," shouted Matilda, and she stamped so heavily on the grass that she squashed it flat. "I don't mind horses stamping at me, but I won't have little girls behaving like this," said the old dame, and she waved a thin brown hand at Matilda. "Be a pony," Run away and stamp all you like. And then, to Matilda's enormous dismay, she found that she was no longer a little girl, but a small brown pony with a white star on its head. She had 4 legs and a long tail. She stamped with her forefoot on the grass and opened her mouth to shout, but she neighed instead. Neigh, hey, hey! Well, if you want to hay, go and get it, said the old dame, going on with her picking. Matilda was frightened by her hoarse voice and ran away round the field. Oh dear, this was dreadful. She was a pony. Fancy that, a pony. She couldn't speak like a little girl. She couldn't pick blackberries, for she had no hands. She could still stamp, and she could wave a long tail about. How very, very queer. Matilda wanted to go home, so she ran to the field gate. But it was shut. Matilda stamped her foot, and the old lady laughed. Stamp away! I always love to see a horse stamping with its hoof. It's right for horses to paw the ground. Stamp all you like, little pony, and enjoy yourself. But Matilda wasn't enjoying herself one bit. Supposing the farmer came by and put the shafts of a cart to carry his goods to market? Suppose he wanted to ride her? He was such a big, heavy man. And what about her food? Would she have to eat grass? Matilda put her big pony head down to nibble the grass to see what it tasted like. It was horrid. She still had the taste and feelings of a little girl, although she had the body of a pony. Whatever was she going to do? Why? Oh, why had she stamped at the old woman? Just then George, John, Lucy, and Fred came into the field. Look, cried Fred, a new pony. Let's ride him. Matilda was full of horror.
Right, and that was Naima Nael Azad from the St. Luke's Primary School. Just one more reader to go in this narrative round. Of course, if you're listening and you would like to view this proceedings live, you could, of course, tune in at dbcradio.net, the DBS Facebook page, as well as the DBS YouTube page. You could view us live, as today is day 3 of the second round of competition. The semi-finals, as we'd like to call it, will be on Wednesday next week. Wednesday next week. I'm trying to get a hold of my calendar so I can give you exactly the date, so you will not say I say next week and then you thought it was the week after. The 30th. Thank you very much. I have to see for myself in case you just figure, you just tell me the 30th. Yes, so it will be on the 30th of June. That's next week, Wednesday. Let me urge you, the parents, the teachers who will be accompanying the students who would have made it to the next round, please make an effort to be here on time. Remember, you're faulting the students when they arrive at the competition late, especially when some of them would have already received their reading materials and they would have to pick up from there. We want them to be as comfortable as possible. We want them to be ready. We want them to be in the best mode mentally. When you come here late to the competition, it's not helping. So let's try to be here by at least 10 past the hour of 2 o'clock. There are penalties for that, and I will take you through the penalties in a little later. But it's time to present to you the next reader from the Temple SDA Primary, Shamina Lee.
What? Let those children ride on her back? Never. She ran away to a corner of the field, and the children followed. The pony stamped her foot at them, and the children laughed. He's like Matilda, they cried. He stamps his foot just like Matilda. Just then, the children's mother came along and called them. Come out of the field, children. There is no time to play before tea. Tea! Matilda felt hungry. How she wished she could go home to eat. But what would her mother say if a pony came running into the house? Still, she would go home. Perhaps her mother would know her even though she was now a pony. Matilda cried a few big tears out of her large pony eyes. She went down the lane to her home. The door was open, and there was her mother laying the tea. Good gracious, a horse coming to tea, said Matilda's mother. I never heard of such a thing. Shoo, shoo! Go out at once. Matilda went right into the room and put her big pony head on her mother's shoulder. Tears ran down her big brown pony nose. Well, look at this, cried her mother in the greatest amazement. A pony crying on my shoulder. Poor creature, what's the matter? Matilda tried to get on to her mother's knee. No, pony, don't be silly, said her mother, pushing it away. Do you think you're a little dog or something, trying to sit on my knee? You'll be borrowing my handkerchief to wipe your eyes next. I must be in a dream. A voice spoke from the doorway. No, you are not in a dream. That is Matilda, but she stamped her foot at me, so I changed her into a pony for a time. Horses may stamp when they please, but not children. Oh dear, cried Matilda's mother, putting her hand around the pony's neck. Now I understand what this poor pony wants. Old woman, you are magic. Change my little girl to her own shape, please. I am sure she will never stamp her foot at you again. Will you ever stamp your foot again, Matilda? The old dame asked the pony. It shook its head at once.
All right, and that was Shamina Lee, representing the Temple SDA Primary. We have come to the end of round one. That is the narrative round. The students will now be getting ready for the next round, which is the reading of the DBS News. This is an opportune time for me to come around with my basket. They give me a basket. I said I had a plastic, but today I have a basket. So I'll be around collecting funds from you folks in the audience. Those of you listening would like to make a contribution to the Education Trust Fund. Of course, I will give you that number in which you can contact them a little later. So we'll take this opportunity now to acknowledge our sponsors.
The DBS Radio Ministry of Education National Reading Competition is brought to listeners. Compliments the Central Cooperative Credit Union Limited. Own more shares, get more benefits. Let's grow our credit union together. National Bank of Dominica, your partner, your bank. National Cooperative Credit Union, one big family. Jay's Bookstore, your supplier for books, greeting cards and furniture. Carlton Phillips Motor Pool, drive in and get the world of vehicle parts. APP Electrical, we do better. OT Trucking, OT at your fingertips for safer trucking services. Springfield Trading Limited, quality is everything. LaFalle's Lab, quality and confidentiality. Auto Depot Limited, when you can't find it, we have got it. AC Shillingford and Company Limited, spend less, get more. Crispies, tasty. 8 Bank, fulfilling our role in the development of a resilient Dominica. West Coast Cooperative Credit Union, most credible choice. Fort Young Hotel, Ocean Edge, Garaway Enterprises, Jungle Bay Resort, the Grand Bay Cooperative Credit Union Limited, Fox's Bread Depot, The Signman, a business without a sign is a sign of no business. Fine Foods Distributors, the biggest distributors of the biggest brands. On the Go Catering Services, they are here to satisfy your cravings. 50th Anniversary Radio DBS, we say a big thank you to all our sponsors. We are reading for Felix. We are reading. Reading makes us smart.
Yes, we are reading for Felix. So we'll take this opportunity now. As we remember Felix once again, he would have hosted this reading competition even as he was the coordinator for this competition. We will remember him in one of those times where he hosted the competition. So we'll take a short clip again from the late Felix Henderson.
Don't you wish you had a little elf to do your homework for you? Starting in September, not 45 days. Starting in September, little elf to do all your homework. Especially some of you don't like maths. You know, there's only one elf in Dominica. Do you know who's that? What part of Dominica? Grand Bay. What's his name? The elf, Cyril Henderson, my cousin. So I can say I have a cousin that is an elf. If you call me later, I'll give you his number. He'll help you to do your homework. Okay? And you have no problem. Just call ELF in Granby. Dial 1-800-ELF. On the net, www.elf.com. And ELF will do your homework for you.
The DBS Radio, Ministry of Education, National Reading Competition is brought to listeners. Compliments the Central Cooperative Credit Union Limited. Own more shares, get more benefits. Let's grow our credit union together. National Bank of Dominica, your partner, your bank. National Cooperative Credit Union, one big family. Jay's Bookstore, your supplier for books, greeting cards and furniture. Carlton Phillips Motor Pool, drive in and get the world of vehicle parts. APP Electrical, we do better. OT Trucking, OT at your fingertips for safer trucking services. Springfield Trading Limited, quality is everything. LaFalle's Lab, quality and confidentiality. Auto Depot Limited, when you can't find it, we have got it. AC Shillingford and Company Limited, spend less, get more. Crispies, tasty. Aid Bank, fulfilling our role in the development of a resilient Dominica. West Coast Cooperative Credit Union, most credible choice. Fort Young Hotel, Ocean Edge, Garaway Enterprises, Jungle Bay Resort, the Grand Bay Cooperative Credit Union Limited, Fox's Bread Depot, The Signman, a business without a sign is a sign of no business. Fine Foods Distributors, the biggest distributors of the biggest brands. On the Go Catering Services, they are here to satisfy your cravings. 50th Anniversary Radio DBS, we say a big thank you to all our sponsors. We are reading for Felix. We are reading. Reading makes us smart.
Reading makes us smart, and that's the reason why we are here. And this competition, as we gear up for the next round, the reading of the DBS News. Our judges are ready. Our listeners, I hope, are ready, as we're about to call on the first reader for this round from the Castlebruce Primary School, Jonella Carbon.
DBS News.
The Dominica Community High School has hosted its 2021 school leaving ceremony. 8 young men said farewell to the school on Friday. Jerry Alfred and Hezekiah Timothy both captured 8 awards at the ceremony. The school leaving was held under the theme, "We are determined to be counted, we refuse to be daunted." The class of 2021 were called on to continue the hard work and to not give up on their dreams and becoming a success.
All right, and that was Jonella Carbon from the Castlebrose Primary School. As a matter of fact, over the weekend, we would have heard the Alumni Association for the Dominica Community High School would have honored, yes, Miss Cecilia Nicholas for her 40 years of service at that very institution. You would have heard from a past teacher, Mrs. Valda Henry, who spoke of the years that Ms. Nicholas would have spent transforming that institution. Once upon a time, folks spoke nothing good of the community high school, but that has changed. Now we can say that it's one of the most disciplined schools in Dominica under the management of Ms. Nicholas. So we commend her for her 40 years at that institution. And of course, we're happy that there could have, of course, been an establishment of the Alumni Association for the Dominica Community High School. So we are moving to our next reader from the Convent Preparatory School, Brittany Lewis.
DBS News.
A full lockdown will be in effect for this weekend in Trinidad and Tobago. This as the government moves to clamp down on any public gathering held to commemorate Labor Day. This coming Sunday, Father's Day, will also be affected. The curfew will begin at 10:02 a.m. on Saturday and end at 5 a.m. on Sunday. It will then resume at 10:02 a.m. on Sunday and will continue until 5 a.m. on Monday.
All right, and that was Brittany Lewis from the Convent Preparatory School. The curfew will begin at 10:02. Why 10:02? It will begin at 10:02 on Saturday, but to end at 5 a.m., so we have been short of 2 minutes. I was speaking to someone earlier. From speaking to me, I get the sense that she is what I would consider an essential worker. We were speaking of COVID, and she said this is one thing that she doesn't want to go through again. That whole COVID thing, having to have the country locked down, where she'd have to leave her little ones at home. And of course, I'm sure none of us would want to go through that lockdown scenario again. No to eme ede para us. We are an independent nation, and Dominicans love their independence. We want to go where we want, when we want, what time we want to come back, what time we want, and nobody should tell us what time to go and sleep. So we have to try our utmost, to play our parts in managing the COVID-19. Okay, so we're heading down back to the south to the Grand Bay Primary School. Let's welcome again Kadisha Latham.
DBS News.
The 1996 class of the Dominica Community High School is giving back to their alma mater. The past students have come on board to officially adopt the school's Form 1 class effective September 2021. The announcement was made at the school grounds this morning. Meantime, 4 teachers were honored by the class of 1996 and they were presented with plaques at the ceremony. A special honor was also made to the school's principal, Celia Nichols.
All right. Kadisha Latham from the Grand Bay Primary School. And again, we would hear of Celia Nicholas, not only from the community high school, but of course the part that she would have played as the president of the Dominica Association of Teachers, right? Yes, so this is a name, this lady and her teaching thing is just something that I guess was in her DNA, and some of us have it in our DNA, eh? Some of us were born with that, and Celia Nicholas would be one of those persons. Earlier on, I was mentioning the penalties for students who would arrive to the competition late. Let me just run through 2 of those. If a student is late after the competition has started, 5 points will be deducted. That is 1. If the student comes in late after his or her round would have passed, of course, he or she would have missed that round, therefore will not read in that round. So I have to say it that way so you can understand how important it is to be early. I said it yesterday, we have to, especially when we have the little ones, you know, it's not like us that are already mature and we can compose ourselves much quicker. They would have to be running, getting into place. They would have to read their materials. It's not easy. It's not nice. I can feel for them sometimes. So we need for them to be as early as possible. All right, so we're moving to our next reader from the Soufriere Primary School, Sajani Alexander.
DBS News.
Displaced families in St. Vincent, following the eruption of the La Soufriere volcano, continue to receive monetary assistance. The assistance has come from the World Food Programme and the government of St. Vincent. As of June 15, displaced families in private homes have received $1.4 million. The money ranges between $300 and $800 depending on the size of the family. Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves said these families are from North Leeward, North Central, and North Windward.
Right, Sajani Alexander from the Soufriere Primary School. I must say it's a consolation that we haven't heard of any recent activity from La Soufriere volcano. It's good news, not only for them in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, but for us as well. Because we say that whatever our sister island would feel or would go through, we too would go through. May not be directly, but indirectly we'll feel what they would be feeling. So we're happy to know that La Soufriere, for some reason, may be going back into deep sleep. Let's hope it remains that way. Because, of course, we have now entered into the hurricane season. They too, will, of course, will be going through that. So they do not need to go through the thoughts of another eruption from La Soufriere. And we just had, of course, a student from Soufriere in Dominica. Imagine that. So we're moving on to the Mont Prosper Primary School. We call once again Kristen Simon.
DBS News.
A COVID-19 support grant to assist Dominican entrepreneurs will be launched soon. The grant will cater to those who have been negatively impacted the COVID-19 pandemic. The grant will be facilitated by the Dominica Youth Business Trust. The trust has also requested for additional assistance to support local entrepreneurs. The special grant will be used to assist in cushioning the effects of COVID-19.
All right, and that was Kristen Simon from the Mont Prosper Primary School. Me say, hola COVID sort, you know. And when will we not hear about COVID-19? Just one day we just woke up and here was COVID. Drastic change. It's not like a hurricane where they can tell us, you know, there is a wave moving from the coast of Africa and we can monitor its progress and see if it will form into a tropical storm or hurricane and what direction it will be taking. That wasn't the case for COVID. We just got up one day and heard that in Wuhan there was COVID-19 and boom, the world is impacted by COVID-19. Hoping that we could probably go back and sleep and wake up next day and think it was a dream. But that is not the case. We have to live with COVID, fight COVID, eh? Yes, we have to fight COVID. But the fight continues. We can say, praise God, that we are not in a bad position. Let's pray that it remains that way. So we are moving on to the Sineku Primary School. Let's welcome again Bevinia Linton.
DBS News.
Health officials are calling on citizens to continue to adhere to the COVID-19 health protocols. Dominica has recorded 18 cases of COVID-19 and will reopen to foreign nationals tomorrow. The coordinator of the health promotion on it says Dominicans cannot let their guards down. Officials have also raised concerns with some of the PCR test results being brought into Dominica. Visitors have also been told that there will be no expectations to the 14-day quarantine period.
Right, Bevinia Linton from the Sineku Primary School. Again, COVID-19 can't run away. As I see the cameraman turn or angled his camera towards me, never once in my life I thought I would be on TV. I mean, we wake up, we say we want to be certain things in life. I never thought I'd be a movie star or be on TV. And all of a sudden, every day, I'm on TV. How our dreams change. That's what the dream I had, Erickson. To be on TV daily. All right. So we are moving on nicely, of course, with the presentation of the news. Let me just touch base with the folks at the DBS News Desk. Kudos to you guys. Thank you for a job well done. We do appreciate putting together of these reading items for this competition. Delma Semper, Lila Langford, Jaya Pendeng, led by Curtis Matthew. Thank you guys and good afternoon. So we're about getting set for our next reader. I believe we'll be heading to the St. Martin's Primary School. Let's welcome again Cesare Joseph.
DBS News.
Over $500,000 was spent to undertake renovation works at the convent high school. The school was damaged by the passage of Hurricane Maria in 2017.
The convent high school also celebrated its 162nd anniversary in February of this year. The school's principal of the convent high school, Isabella Prentice, says they are grateful to those assisted and donated towards the renovation works. Prentice says the school managed well with its online learning during the COVID-19 lockdown.
All right, and that was Cesare Joseph from the St. Martin's Primary School. It's good news, of course, to hear that there will be, or the renovation will take place, or have already begun at the convent high school. I mean, an institution as old as the convent, of course, we need to preserve such infrastructures. So 162 years is no easy feat. Just recently, we would have heard from the Prime Minister, who mentioned that the second oldest school in Dominica will be constructed. You all know what I'm talking about? Reconstructed? Yes, to some extent. Which one? You went there, man. Yes, the Dominica Grammar School. That is the second oldest school, high school in Dominica. So we're happy that, of course, the decision was taken to reconstruct that very institution. Anybody from the, who attended the grammar school in the audience, except you? Just you? Oh, our George here this afternoon, that is Rila Benjamin, after attending the Berean Christian Academy, after winning the DBS radio reading competition, went on to the Dominica Grammar School. You see, good things come from grammar school. Yeah, I know. All right, so we are moving. Hey, you have to be proud of wherever you went to school, eh? I mean, I went to Granby Secondary School, and nobody can tell me anything is, nowhere is better than Granby Secondary School. I mean, come on. Now the Pearchild Secondary School. So we're moving on to the St. Mary's Primary. Let's welcome again Kaelan Matthew.
DBS News.
Dominica's community tourism product is being enhanced. Close to $1 million will be spent to undertake this initiative. That's according to Minister for Tourism, Dennis Charles. Charles says Dominica's community tourism will be developed as a full package. She stated this will better showcase the tradition and history of the community.
All right, and that was Kaelan Matthew from the St. Mary's Primary School. You know, the good thing about all of this, even as we experience COVID-19, is to see how much work that we in Dominica is putting into creating the best experience or promoting the country as one of the best destinations. Even now, as a matter of fact, we have different programs, you know, the work away program. No, just this morning you would have heard from the president of the Hotel and Tourism Association, who mentioned that they've just launched a program, or they will be launching a program where a tourist can decide, you know, I want to go to Dominica, and there will be this different platform that they would have to choose from. First, you would have to discover Dominica, to choose Dominica. When you've chosen Dominica, you would go to Dominica to decide what you want to do when you get to Dominica. When you get to Dominica, you have to go to experiencedominica.com to decide where you want to go. So all of this we must applaud, you know, as in order to give the tourists or the visitors the best experience. And let me tell you something, Dominica is the best place to experience in the world. And if you don't agree with me on that, well, so pardon me, Chair. Well, we're one of the top 10, but we should be one of the, actually the number one in the world. You'll agree with me? Best country in the world? Yeah. Of course. The students agree, you should agree too. Yes. All right. And we're moving on to the St. Luke's Primary School. We welcome again Naimanael Azard.
DBS News.
The state of emergency for COVID-19 in Barbados has been extended to September 27th. This announcement was made by Attorney General Dale Marshall. On Tuesday, Barbados recorded another COVID-19 infection. This has raised further concerns among Barbadians in light of the spike of 24 cases over the weekend. The case brought the total number of confirmed COVID-19 cases in Barbados to 133.
All right, and that was Naimanael Azad from the St. Luke's Primary School. Again, more news on COVID-19. It's like clockwork. It's coming and it's coming and it's coming and it's not stopping. Well, speaking of coming and not stopping, for those of you who would have made a contribution to the Education Trust Fund, so Boko Shape, because next time if you'll hear again, I will come back to you. So please work with extra on Wednesday. For those of you who will be there on Wednesday, work with a little extra because I'll be passing back to collect. Remember, it's an effort to assist, the young ones who will be attending secondary school who, without that help, would not have made it to secondary school. Yes, there are programs in place ensuring that all students will get access to secondary school, but not all can afford even to go to secondary school. So this is what the Education Trust Fund is all about. So just remember, you're helping that one child who otherwise would not have been able to attend. And it could be your very own. It could be your very own needing that help. So let's, again, like I said, even if it's $1 or $2, of course, the more the merrier, but we'll, of course, appreciate any contributions made. All right, so we're moving on to our final reader in this round from the Temple SDA Primary School, Shamina Lee.
DBS News.
Government may soon need to introduce new planning legislation. That's the view of Minister of Housing Reynold Austri. He states this is needed to enforce the proper building codes on the island. Austri says a number of new building practices have been introduced since the passage of Hurricane Maria. However, the legislation to make them compulsory during construction is not in place.
All right, and that was Shamina Lee from the Temple SDA Primary. So we've come to the end of the reading of the DBS News. So our students, once again, will get set for the presentation of the DBS Sports News. I will now take this opportunity to acknowledge our sponsors.
Cooperative Credit Union Limited. Own more shares, get more benefits. Let's grow our credit union together. DBS Radio, Ministry of Education, National Reading Competition is brought to listeners. Compliments the Central Cooperative Credit Union Limited. Own more shares, get more benefits. Let's grow our credit union together. National Bank of Dominica, your partner, your bank. National Cooperative Credit Union, one big family. Jay's Bookstore, your supplier for books, greeting cards and furniture. Carlton Phillips Motor Pool, drive in and get the world of vehicle parts. APP Electrical, we do better. OT Trucking, OT at your fingertips for safer trucking services. Springfield Trading Limited, quality is everything. LaFalle's Lab, quality and confidentiality. Auto Depot Limited, when you can't find it, we have got it. AC Shillingford and Company Limited, spend less, get more. Crispies, tasty. Aid Bank, fulfilling our role in the development of a resilient Dominica. West Coast Cooperative Credit Union, most credible choice. Fort Young Hotel, Ocean Edge, Garaway Enterprises, Jungle Bay Resort, the Grand Bay Cooperative Credit Union Limited, Fox's Bread Depot, The Signman, a business without a sign is a sign of no business. Fine Foods Distributors, the biggest distributors of the biggest brands. On-the-go catering services, they are here to satisfy your cravings. 50th Anniversary Radio DBS. We say a big thank you to all our sponsors. We are reading for Felix. We are reading. Reading makes us smart.
Yes, and we want to say thank you to Flo Dominica as well as our headline sponsor, the Office of the Prime Minister. While our students are going through the reading material, we will now take another clip from one of those times where Felix hosted this very reading competition. So we'll go across for another clip from Felix the late.
I read to you something that was sent to me. It's called If My Mother Was a Sukuya. If my mother was a Sukuya, I would want to have a meeting with her. I would say, Mama, why? Why, Mama? Of all the trades and skills known to men, this is what you choose to do. Mama, you are not a bird. If I had wings like a dove. Mama, you are not a plane. Let me see your wings. Mama, is that why I sleep so deeply at night? I try to stay awake to mark you, but every night I find myself drifting involuntarily into a deep sleep. Mama, people suspect you though. At school, they tell me, boy, your mother is a Sukuya. I defend you, Mama. But deep down inside of my heart, in my heart, I am not so sure. I can't believe my mother is a Sukuya. I can't believe a Sukuya makes my tea. I can't believe a Sukuya cooks my food and wash my clothes. Mama, if I catch you, you know what? You will never fly again. Mama, Mama, answer me. Mama, you're not saying anything, eh? And why are you looking at me like that? With those kind of eyes, Mama. Mama, if it were in the old days, I would no longer have a mother. Because, Mama, you'd be stoned or burned to death. Because it is written, suffer not a witch to live. Mama, your body language tells me a lot. Mama, don't go to light, please. Say no to drugs, to the devil, Mama. Use the name of Jesus and the blood of Jesus. Don't use the other blood. But Mama, you could be free. You can rest in your bed at night and sing. Thank God I am free, free, free. No longer a Sukuya. Washed in the blood of Jesus. No more successor. Hallelujah, I'm safe from doing Zafamun Meshasti. Thank God I have found him. Jesus is Lord, he will show me the way. Yes, who are you flying with? Fly in the spirit of Jesus. That was If My Mother Was a Sukuya. So some of you have some homework to do. Hazari.
All right. And I'm sure this never gets old. If My Mother Was a Sukuya. All right, so we are ready for the presentation of the DBS Sports News. As we welcome to the DBS News Desk from the Castlebrooks Primary School, Jonella Carbon.
Covering the nation and beyond. DBS Sports Report.
The Goodwill Primary School and the Sophia Primary will advance to the next round of the Sports Division 2021 Primary Schools Netball Festival. 5 schools from Roseau and environs competed at the Windsor Park Stadium for a spot in the next round on Friday. Meantime, the Will Strathmore Stevens Primary and the Wesley Primary secured spots in the next round. The Roosevelt Douglas Primary and Clifton Primary School also advanced.
All right, and that was Jonella Carbon from the Castlebrose Primary School. Even as we just heard the clip from the late Felix Henderson on the subject or the topic, if my mother was a Sukuya, I never understand people's fascination with Sukuya. I mean, what is it really? I mean, we all know what it means and what it stands for, but yet people are so fascinated by the whole Sukuya thing. Even I still want to interview a Sukuya. Of course. I'm hoping at some time somebody decides to come forward and say, hey, I'll take that interview. I'll do it. I'll do it. If you know of anybody, please lead me. I'm sure that'll be a very interesting interview. And I don't want, well, it has to be in Creole, of course. Can be in English. So I'm looking forward. I'm just hoping somebody would have the courage to call me up and say, okay, I have changed my life around, but I want to tell you my experience as a Sukuya. I don't want them to be active, you know. I don't want an active Sukuya, you know. I want to interview a past Sukuya, retired. So if you're retired, check me. Yes. All right, so we're moving now to the Convent Preparatory School. Brittany Lois.
Covering the nation and beyond, DBS Sports Report.
The Kalinago Premier League has received a major cash injection to complete the 2021 season. The league is in its 7th edition and is organized by the Kalinago Sports Association and corporate and private citizens. Government will make available $20,000 to the league. Member of Parliament for the Selabia constituency, Kozia Frederick, says government is mindful of the need to promote cricket within the indigenous community.
Right, and that was Brittany Lois from the Convent Preparatory School. And like I said, when you begin with the subject of Sukuya, it doesn't end. You know, sometimes I wonder, when I look at the young folks who are reading especially, and some of them who are in the audience, they have no idea what I'm talking about. Yes, they would have heard it, but the idea of Sukuya now is a banshee. Well, if you can relate to that. But the idea of Sukuya is what we consider to be a witch, and the idea of a witch is nothing what we know as a Sukuya. You know? So it's amazing that they unfortunately cannot relate to what we are talking about. But we're hoping that maybe later some of them will query and ask auntie and teacher, what is a Sukuya? Old folk stories. Well, not old folk stories, but yeah. All right, so moving on to the Grand Bay Primary School. We call again for the final time this afternoon, Kadisha Latham.
Covering the nation and beyond, DBS Sports Report.
The participation of the Dominica State College in the National Netball League has been confirmed. Sponsorship for the team's participation was secured by Ambassador Lauren Barnes Roberts. Tranquility Beach Resort is now the official sponsor of the Dominica State College for the Netball League. CEO of Tranquility Beach Resort, Ian Edwards, says he is delighted to contribute to the growth of netball in Dominica.
All right, and that was Kadisha Latham from the Grand Bay Primary School. And speaking of Grand Bay Primary School, I used to be part of a particular group of students. who would go down past the Granby Primary School, go down to the Old Boys School, past the Old Boys School, and head to the Belfry, which was situated just above the cemetery. And for some reason, a group of us would always find ourselves right there above the cemetery talking about Sukuya. Imagine that. We'd talk about all these stories about the white lady in the ravine and, you know, the single hand that rang the bell in the belfry and all of those stories. And we'd all do that just above the cemetery. That's to show you how brave we were and innocent to some extent. You know, we're talking about all those things and we're above a cemetery. And even now, some folks our age, some adults will not walk through a cemetery to save their lives. But students and children be running around a cemetery like, again, what would happen to you in a cemetery anyways? There's only dead people there, buried. Cannot move. But you would find some folks will tell you, not me. Cemetery, pala. Yeah, I pass in there. Make it worse at night. No shortcut. All right, so we are now heading to the Sufria Primary School. We call on Sajani Alexander.
Covering the nation and beyond, DBS Sports Report.
The Dominica Football Association Premier League resumes this weekend following the international break. And a top-of-the-table clash will be among highlights this weekend. League leaders Central Cooperative Credit Union Dubla FC will battle second place Happy Bath Estate. That match is carded for Saturday at the Stock Farm playing field.
All right, and that was Sajani Alexander from the Sufria Primary School. When I look at students attending primary, especially primary, it shows how COVID-19 has changed the fashion mode. Change in the sense that we all know we have to wear a mask. But now we have masks matching our school's uniforms. We have masks matching our suits to go to work. We have masks that are printed with initials and fancy names and all of that. That is a fashion statement now. I wonder if COVID, and when, not if, but when COVID disappears, will we keep our mask with all those fashion things? With our... No, well, you wouldn't keep those masks. Some of us have 10 masks, 20 masks in our closets, and you wouldn't keep them? No? Imagine I'm seeing our friend on the right here. She have a Madras mask. I should show you. Yes. Culture, that's what I'm saying. So you wouldn't keep that mask after COVID? Oh, okay. All right. Show with confidence. Yes. As a fashion statement now, you know. Imagine 20 years down the line, we'll be showing our grandkids, if we have them, hey, this is how it used to be. We used to wear a mask. Yes, it would, of course, be a thing of the past, let's hope. So now we are moving up to Mount Prosper Primary School. We call on Kristen Simon.
Covering the nation and beyond, DBS Sports Report.
West Indies coach Phil Simon says despite losing the second test, there are some positives to take away. England beat West Indies by 113 runs to level the series. The Windies, chasing 312 to win, were bowled out for 198 runs. Former West Indies fast bowler Michael Holding called it a poor showing from the West Indies batsmen.
All right, that was Kristen Simon from the Mount Prosper Primary School. Now I'm a West Indian, die hard. Die hard. Win or lose, win or draw, idea. You understand? Rally, they say. Rally around the West Indies. But when you hear folks like the coach, Phil Simon, who says despite losing, there are some positives to take away. And that was from the England test, may say. So no positive was taken at all because they lose against South Africa. So there's still positives that go from South Africa. So because not say positives are then. It's positives and positives. Supposed to bring more positives, no? West Indies just lost against South Africa just yesterday, day 4 in the second test by 158 runs. First test lost by an innings and 163 runs. Because I also positives that we will take away. I wonder, but yet, I will rally, eh? I will rally around the West Indies. Because I will still wake up on Friday, I believe, Friday. 26 is Saturday. I will still, at 2 p.m. in front of my TV, first T20. I'll be there, tuned. All right. We need to rally. It doesn't matter. We need to support them, yes. But, of course, sometimes they can disappoint us. And they've been doing that for quite some time. All right. So we're moving to Sineku Primary School. We welcome, one more time this afternoon, Bevinia Linton.
Covering the nation and beyond, DBS Sports Report.
A top-of-the-table clash will kick off this week's round of matches in the DFA Premier League. On Friday, league leaders Sajikar South East will take on their neighbors We United Football Club. South East lead the point standings with 27 points. We United have so far captured 20 points and in third place.
Right, and that was Bevinia Linton from the Sineku Primary School. You know how we say a good broth is not a good broth without a little gel cochon in it? Smoked chicken, yes, but as if it's still a little bit of gel cochon or lache cochon, somewhat. You can, if you're not eating it, put it aside. Cook it apart and put it in your plate. What's what I think when it comes to West Indies cricket. I think West Indies needs some good Dominican blood. I think it's about time we have a Dominican on the West Indies team, and I think we'll make a change. We can make a difference. Unfortunately, we haven't been given enough opportunities. We've had Dominicans taking parts in the regional tournaments and all of that. We had a Dominican, a young Dominican, making the most runs in the Under-19 World Cup. Young Athenas. And they're not using them to their full, capacity. Yes, we had Shane Shillingford. He had a problem with his bowling action. So you can have a tutkade problem with Dominic. But I think we can make a change. If we have a Dominican on the West Indies teams, we can make a difference. So all we need is an opportunity. We need an opportunity on the West Indies cricket team. Oh, yes, I think so. Until then, until then. So nuki kakashia then. Like your last spend. All right, so we are moving, and I'm happy that you guys don't know what kakashia is. Okay, so we're moving now to the St. Martin's Primary School. We welcome one more time this afternoon, Sejari Joseph.
Covering the nation and beyond, DBS Sports Report.
National cricket captain Tyrone Theophile is impressed with the results of the first cricket trial match. Hardball cricket made its return over the weekend following the COVID-19 break. A number of players put in solid performances during the 2 matches at the Windsor Park Stadium. The games were also the first played on the rehabilitated wicket at the stadium.
All right, and that was Cesare Joseph from the St. Martin's Primary School, and we were just speaking about Dominicans, and here we go, Tyrone Theophil. And of course, you would have heard the news of Tyrone, who suffered through this unfortunate accident, but we're happy that he's coming back into full form. We're hoping that at some point we will be able to see national cricket again at the Windsor Park Stadium. I was bien bade to see West Indies play against New Zealand. That was carried, I believe, for May, June. That didn't take place. It was said that we would have gotten the match against South Africa. They took that away from us. But I guess when it's time, it's time. So when the time comes around again, we're hoping that we'll get the opportunity to host a national match right here in Dominica. So we're moving now to the St. Mary's Primary. We welcome for the final time this afternoon, Kaelan Matthew.
Covering the nation and beyond, DBS Sports Report.
Football will make its return this weekend following a break due to COVID-19. 3 big matches are on the cards for the Windsor Park Stadium. Public Relations Officer of the Dominica Football Association, Gerald George, says the association is happy to be able to resume football. He says all COVID-19 health protocols will be observed at the venue.
All right, and that was Kaelan Matthew from the St. Mary's Primary School. A while ago, I just used a word to emphasize how I was feeling. And it just struck me. The beauty of Creole, the Creole language. Sometimes I feel sorry to some extent for some people who cannot understand it, cannot relate to it, unfortunately. But Creole is a beautiful language for those of you who can speak it and understand it. And I'm happy that I am in the position, of course, to promote that language, to be a part of that culture. So when folks meet me on the streets and they would say, but Millie, I hear you use a certain word on the radio. You can say that now? I would say, yes, it's Creole. Unfortunately, in English, would make sense. And if you use it in English context, then you'll be wrong. But in Creole, it makes a lot of sense. So when I say I was bien bade to see West Indies play against New Zealand, I use it in the correct context, and yes, I can say it on radio. There's nothing wrong in saying bade. I don't know what bade means for you. But I can say that, and many, many, many other words that will probably surprise you. That, again, is the beauty of the Creole language. All right, so we welcome for the final time this afternoon from the St. Luke's Primary School, Naimanael Azad.
Covering the nation and beyond, DBS Sports Report.
The Men's T20 World Cup, which has to be held in Australia, has been postponed. The tournament was due to take place between October 18th and November 15th, 2020. The next edition is scheduled for October and November 2021, with another in 2022. It has not been announced whether the 2021 tournament will be held in India as planned.
All right, and that was Naimanael Azad from the St. Luke's Primary School. While one of our students will be excused, let me just call on you who will be moving to the next round, not you students, but especially the teachers and the parents. Again, let me make that call. Ensure that the students are well fed before the competition, well nourished. Because I need to make that point, nourished, not fed. I remember when I was going to school, they said to us, in the little time that I spent in food and nutrition class, because I did woodwork, I remember there was something that goes like this: food is everything that you eat or drink that satisfies the body's need. Well, no, we need to nourish the body and not especially satisfy the body. But you need to, of course, nourish. And if you eat the proper foods, of course, you will see the effects of that, because sometimes when the students are not fed properly, they eat something light, for example, in little times, they are restless because, they not had a proper meal. So we're just calling on you to ensure that they're well nourished and don't rush them to eat 10 minutes before the competition either. Ensure that they eat at least an hour before the competition. So we are moving on to our final reader for this afternoon. From the Temple STA Primary School, Shamina Lee.
Covering the nation and beyond, DBS Sports Report.
One match is scheduled for this evening in the Dominica Football Association Premier League. Premier champion Central Cooperative Credit Union Doblan FC will take on East Central at the Benjamins Park. A win for Doblan will see them move to just 4 points behind league leaders Sagicor Southeast. The Premier League action will continue with matches on Friday.
All right, and that was Shamina Lee from the Temple STA. And this takes us to the end of competition. The students can now get the opportunity to relax. The judges will retire. I too will do so for a little bit until we are ready for the judges' remarks and the results. It is bye-bye for a little while as we head back to Studio 1.
Campaign: reduce, reuse, reclaim, and recycle.
In a world filled with mobile phones, tablets, and computers, one may ask, why radio? DBS Radio has the answer. For 50 years, we've got it right. DBS Radio reaches so many people, and that link with our online presence seals the deal. DBS Radio informs, educates, and entertains. We are a trusted source. We build community. We go beyond electricity. We go beyond mobile signal. We go beyond literacy. We are DBS Radio, a ray of hope in challenging times.
your location. Send me that location. WhatsApp that location. Now we need your location. Call the Uber. Call the Uber now. I am coming to ya. Coming to ya now. Sherry, call the Uber. Call the Uber now. I am coming to ya. Coming to ya now.
No winter can cool you, baby girl, so your heart. Overall, tell them for a very strange reason, baby you're so underrated. Cause you are the best I see overall. But there's no one other than you at all. There is no one could ever call you a fraud. Because you're better than them. You are the best overall. You're better than them. You are the best by far. You catch me flirting with a next girl, baby, me sorry. Yeah. Don't try to mash up the thing that we have, baby, no way. Yeah. Plus you work hard for your things, so nobody can say you own it. Yeah. Overall, can you have my wake to my knees and my friends, family, everybody can tell you that. The Father bless me when me sneeze, cause you love me receive and you know me must tell you flat. Tell you, don't talk about when your clothes come off, lights off and your world cut off. Hey, love it when you're posing off, girl you know me want to show you off. Cause there's no one other than you at all. There is no one could ever call you a fraud. Because you're hotter than them. You are the best overall. You're better than them. You are the best by far. Give you a kiss on your cheek every time that I see you coughing. Yeah. Hold your hand in the street every time that they see we crossing. Yeah. Must the way how you sweet, ever humble, you never boss. Yeah. Overall, I'll tell them you're not taking feet and not this from no chick, so nobody can say you're soft. And you never deal with deceit, watch the words when you speak, so they can't say you carry talk. Tell them, don't talk about when the clothes come off, lights off and the world cut off. Baby, love it when you're posing off, girl you know me want to show you off. But there's no one better than you at all. There is no one could ever call you a fraud. Because you're hotter than them. You are the best overall. You're better than them. You are the best by far.
Losing you would be a tragedy. You leaving me, girl, that go mash up me. You leaving me, girl, that go mash up me. Many search for love, but I found love. Feel like I don't deserve you, but I know that I do. Can't help but smile when rude boy by your side. In all the darkest times, your love to shine bright. Watch me now. Sweet lady, you're my baby. For you, my walk over time. SOS, baby. If you get my text, please reply. Oh, baby, tell me where you gone. Baby, call me and just come. And don't really matter. It don't matter. Long as I'm next to you and you next to me. None else don't matter. None else don't matter. Once I'm next to you and you next to me. Baby, miss your love. Baby, miss your touch. Don't give my love away. Don't give my love away. Baby, miss your love. Baby, miss your touch. Don't give my love away. Don't give my love away. Love deep like the ocean for real. No more half step and girl, I'm all in. I had to learn to receive love. Rude boy never been in love, but your love is enough. I stop searching and find it. That's why I can't let you go. Watch me now. Sweet lady, you're my baby. please reply. Oh baby, tell me where you gone. Baby, call me and just come. And don't really matter. It don't matter. Long as I'm next to you and you next to me. None else don't matter. None else don't matter. Once I'm next to you and you next to me. Baby, baby, miss you. Baby, baby, miss your touch. Don't give my love away. Don't give my love away. Baby, baby, miss you. Baby, baby, miss your touch. Don't give my love away. Don't give my love away.
I see me in the place for touch me. I see me in the place for touch me. Girl, you're about them touch me. Can't believe until I then get touch me. When them girl get a taste, them coulda swear Cadbury sponsor me all night. Some girl get wicked at the knees. My flavor right feels so sweet all night. Oh Lord, my kind of style she like. She said my kind of style so sweet. Oh Lord, my kind of vibe she like. She said my kind of vibe so sweet. She said take control like you belong. I rough it up like when the cops come. Afraid that I made it, so now I slow down. And she said increase the speed up and I cruise one time. She said she never feel this kind of loving in she life, oh Lord. She feel like it's the sign of the time. Well, baby girl, if this is the last day of your life, you want me to go down in a passion of fight. When them girl get a taste, them coulda swear Cadbury sponsor me all night. Some girl get wicked at the knees. My flavor right feels so sweet all night. Oh Lord, my kind of style she like. She said my kind of style so sweet. Oh Lord, my kind of vibe she like. She said my kind of vibe so sweet. She said baby put it back there, there, there. Baby put it back there. And she said baby put it back there, there, there. Baby put it back there. So you know I put it back there, there, there. Baby put it back there. And so you know I put it back there. I put it back there. I put it back there, back there, back there. Oh, sweeter than what diabetes will do to your life. Sweeter than what street director shoot up in the night. Grab you like a piranha, we hook up on a line. Too little like I guess you never see the sign. Sweeter than a glass coke. She said our up, she like a spranger in the street. Looking for a last stroke, not one word spoke. Silent and deadly, me say don't choke. I said don't choke. When them girl get a taste, them coulda swear Cadbury sponsor me all night. Some girl get wicked at the knees. My flavor right feels so sweet all night. Oh Lord, my kind of style she like. She said my kind of style so sweet. Oh Lord, my kind of vibe she like. She said my kind of vibe so sweet. She said baby put it back there, there, there. Baby put it back there. And she said baby put it back there, there, there. Baby put it back there. So you know I put it back there, there, there. Baby put it back there. And so you know I put it back there. I put it back there. I put it back there. Hey, so you know I give you what she love, give you what she love. You know I give you what she want. You know I give you what she love, give you what she love. You know I give you what she want. Hey, so you know I give you what she love, give you what she love. You know I give you what she want. You know I give you what she love, hey, you know I give you what she want. When them girl get a taste, them coulda swear Cadbury sponsor me all night. Some girl get wicked at the knees. My flavor right feels so sweet all night. My kind of style she like. She said my kind of style so sweet. Oh Lord, my kind of vibe she like. She said
Il a fallu me prouver qu'on a nos À la bonienne, t'as été validé. T'as tapé dans le mille de mon cœur. Je vis dans la vida avec toi. Suis-moi, tu verras. Ça viendra, illégal. Toi et moi, en bagaille. Et qu'enfin, je suis là pour toi. Tu me voulais, tu m'as eu. Il a fallu me prouver ton amour. Tu me voulais, tu m'as eu. Il a fallu me prouver ton amour. Ah oui, la dot. Bébé veut un gosse. Je finis mon tête, moi je veux la vie de rêve. Ah oui, la dot. Bébé veut un gosse. Je finis mon tête, moi je veux la vie de rêve. Ah oui, ah oui. Ah oui, ah oui. Ah oui, ah oui, ah oui. Ah oui, ah oui. Ah oui, ah oui. Ah oui, ah oui. Ah oui, ah oui, la dot. Bébé veut un gosse.
Check one, just getting our bearing right. 4 minutes before 5. A beautiful afternoon in Dominica. Tuesday, that is. June 22. The day's moving, time flying. Rolls quickly halfway in 2021 already. Can you believe that? The doctor here in your company. This is DBS celebrating 50. So we are standing by for this afternoon's results in the reading competition. Are we on our third competition of this round so far? Most of the boys and girls have done well, trust me. Reading for Felix, man, it was nice hearing that clip of the late Felix Henderson back when he would host the competition that he did for so many years, every year, every school, every round, from the beginning to the end. Mia Joseph doing a good job. Congratulations. Dean Thomas and crew, good afternoon. Wagwan Dean. Make sure you have the vibes locked for Friday. You know the business already. Top and bottom. Top and bottom. The folks at the workplace, good afternoon. Hope you're having a fantastic day. A productive one. And you're getting along with your fellow colleagues. Very important, very healthy. So we're hearing of an internship program between DBS and the State College. Students are enrolled in the mass comm field will be given the opportunity to be trained at DBS. Fantastic. Yeah, man, DBS doing big things, you know, celebrating 50. Big man business. And Thursday there will be a panel discussion on cricket moderated by the legendary umpire, former umpire, the legendary Billy Doctrove. So that's our Thursday night on a DBS. Look out for this. Meantime, let's bubble.
So many nights I did for matter to get you all
celebrating your special day on June 22. Happy birthday to you. Let's reach out to Sarita Laville, Bafa State, celebrating today. Happy birthday to you. Sarah Lee reaches out and touch you on your special day. God bless and many more to come. A few things I read about the number 27, you know. But I'll leave that for now. Meantime, sing the tune, ladies.
You make me feel like you make me feel. When you want to tell a mission singer, like you want my emphasis bring me like a jam can't cry up. Endless loving and it can't expire. I will say that I never answer prayer.
You know, sir, you have the loving for me body when you hold me, and if you call me, we come. Baby, me now let her go. Love is like a seed and you reap for your soul. Baby, when the bright lights start to fade, fire up your lighter, float on with the waves. You make me feel like you make me feel like you make me feel. Baby, when the bright lights start to fade, fire up your lighter, float on with the waves. You make me feel like you make me feel like
Yes.
you make me feel.
Yes. Things are getting better. Things are getting better. For the Lord is on my side. Things are getting better. Getting better for us. Things are getting better. You know, sometimes people tend to surprise us, right? And every now and then we deserve a surprise. And they sure surprised us today. Yes. We're just waiting for the man in the studio to join us so we could hear from our head judge. Maybe then I can take one or two comments from you because they surprised us so much. And I could have a little feel from you folks in the audience. Check them for Calypso and Queen Show. Well, unless they're singing about education, 1, 2, and long division, like Felix would say, we can contact them. But we love when our judges are thorough, but at the same time. So let's again wait for. I will maybe take 2 of you from the audience quickly.
We are ready for this afternoon's results. It's back to Mia and the rest of the guys.
Thank you so much, Dr. Labadi. Yes. Sing it again. Sing what? I want to hear you. Don't hide your face behind the mask. Let me hear you. Sing again. Oh, saved by Labadi. Doctor, you hear that? All right, so we're in with the results as we're about to present to you the top 6 readers for this afternoon. As the quest continue for the best reader, yes, at the DBS Ministry of Education National Reading Competition. So our judges have tabulated, they have made their decision, and they did it in such quick time, which will allow us maybe for 1 or 2 feedback from you in the audience. So I will just come down quickly. We'll take one. We'll take one. When things happen for the first time, you have to embrace it, eh? Good afternoon to you, ma'am.
Good afternoon.
How are you?
I'm fine, thanks.
Tell us where you're from.
I'm from the Kalinago territory.
Sorti loin.
Oui.
Okay. All right. Tell us how you feel about this afternoon's competition.
I think it was great. The children read well. They all read well. And I know we have to take the top 6. However, I think they all did a fabulous job, and they need to be commended for that. Yes.
You said they did a fabulous job. So let's see one more person. Good afternoon to you.
You just said one, you know.
Yes, but I mean, she did so well.
Oh, good afternoon.
How are you?
Hi, thank.
Where are you from?
Sufria.
Okay, from the south. Tell us your feel on this afternoon's competition.
Well, competition was a bit tight, I must say. They read excellent. All of them, they were very good. I must commend them, their teachers, their parents, the children themselves. Good job. Keep it up.
So whatever the judges decide this afternoon, you'll agree with?
As long as we go through. Yes.
As long as you go through?
Yes.
Well, we'll see what the judges have to say about that. So we'll allow Mrs. Francis to give us the judges' remarks.
Good afternoon to all. Good afternoon, students. Today, this group of students, they were very, very brave. For the narrative reading piece, it was a very good pace at your reading. Thumbs up to you. Your articulation was on point. Your volume and your pitch was excellent. Keep it up. We must say to the parents and the teachers, you are doing a great job, and thumbs up to the helpers as well. The students seem to be better prepared for this competition. On the other hand, we want to make mention of your pronunciation in the ending of words. Again, your letters, some of them must be pronounced that we can hear, okay? You also need to catch your breath and pause a little bit when you are giving the news item in particular. We also want to encourage you to avoid staring at your parents in the audience or your teachers. Sometimes you tend to lose focus. We also want to say that when you are pronouncing the word T-H-E, it is pronounced as the before a consonant and the before a vowel, okay? Overall, everybody did an excellent job.
All right, so thank you so much, Mrs. Francis. Remember, this group today, day 3, second round, we'll be choosing the 18 best scores. So at the end of today, thank God, that's not my job, where they'll have to go over whoever decides to join Kimaraito to choose the top 18 best scores to advance to the next round to begin on Wednesday, the 30th of June. All right. However, we're about to present to you the top 6 readers for this afternoon. Écoutez bien. Again, the scores is what matters. Listen. When I call you, when I call on your name, please join me up front. In 6th position, with 376 points from the Sufria Primary School, Sajani Alexander. In 5th position, with 384 points from the Castlebrose Primary School, Jonella Carbon. In 4th position, with 387 points from the St. Martin's Primary, Cesare Joseph. Cesare. Cesare. In 3rd position, with 412 points from the St. Luke's Primary School, Naimanael Azard. In 2nd position, with 433 points from the St. Mary's Primary, Kaylan Matthew. And our top reader for this afternoon with 435 points from the Convent Preparatory School, Brittany Lewis. So those are our top readers for this afternoon. Remember, changez bien, Zopakatan. We will select the top 18 best scores. Unfortunately, I could not give you all the scores. I'm only here to give you the top 6. So we have to listen tomorrow. News. Please, please, Messieurs, it is important. All you children are there. They're there to represent the schools. You need to listen. There could be changes any day, any time. And it's sad that we have to call a teacher or parent to inform them that your student should be here already. Listen to the news. When we make these announcements, we'll announce who the first group will be. Next coming Wednesday, the 30th of June. We say, Kute. So we'll be announcing the top 18 to move into the next round. Let me just address those of you who were seated, whose name wasn't called. The reason why you were here, you were able to take part in this competition, is because you were good. And you listened to the judges. Let me tell you something. All you give them a difficult job here. Don't think because all you sit down there, you all didn't do well, you know. You did well. It's just sad that we have to choose a certain amount of you to advance. But you all did well. They had a hard time. Even if they finished fast today. But they had a difficult time because you guys are doing well. You are reading well. Continue to read. This young lady here read just like you. And she is now at the University of the West Indies, part of Nick, but at the University of the West Indies nonetheless, because she was like you too. She read and she has moved on very far. And so can you if you continue reading. All right? All right? So thank you for taking part. We will see you again. It is not over. Continue reading. Continue reading. And thank you so much. However, it is time for me to leave you. Let me say thank you all those of you who took part, who were here, who listened, who tuned in. It was a pleasure, of course. Tune in again next Wednesday, God's willing, on the 30th of June. It's au revoir from Alliance Française.
Came in at number 5, St. Martin's